Hello my friends and welcome back. It is Friday my dudes, that means you and I will survive the week, which in itself is already wonderful. I have also wonderful news today in the video, a little sneak peek. Before we go though, do subscribe to the channel because I know over half of you haven't done it. You sneaky because you enjoy the videos. Click the subscribe, let's get that number to 100% of the viewers. 3 big topics. One of the largest thermal power plants in Russia went kaboom. Beautiful. 1,000 Shahed drones exploded at the same time in Donetsk city airport. They were exploded by Ukrainian drones. And finally, Pokrovsk. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go into details. Sneak peek for you. It is still holding. But let's begin with the good news. It's Friday after all. I mean, we're gonna have a cold brewski tonight. And right now, we need to begin the day with the good news. Where is Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister? He has been the foreign minister since the dinosaur era. He has been there forever. And he's like a stone. Every time he opens his mouth, his face is like a stone. And every time lies come out. But he's suddenly gone. What happened? He was absent from yesterday's meeting where Putin was throwing around the threats of nuclear tests. Kommersant politely wrote that foreign minister was absent by agreement. Almost simultaneously, Lavrov lost his status as the head of the Russian delegation at the G20 summit. Lavrov is always the head of any Russian summit anywhere almost. That's what he has been doing for the last forever. And now suddenly not doing that anymore. Why? He also vanished from the information field. His last public statements were made in late October. Earlier we reported that the Russian leadership is looking for those responsible for the failed Putin-Trump talks in Budapest. Lavrov has been named as a main culprit. In Russia, when something goes wrong, somebody always takes the bullet, takes the hit, is the scapegoat. That's how the system works. And Lavrov is a very, very high official in Russia. You could say he's in Putin's very inner circle. If he's made scapegoat, that signals a major change in Putin's inner circle. This next one is a joke, so take it as a joke, but it's a damn good one. Breaking. Microsoft appoints Sergey Lavrov to the board. Apparently he's on the verge of a major Windows breakthrough. Hey, if I was Sergey Lavrov right now, I would not drink tea and I'd stay away from high-rise apartment buildings. I live in a cellar where there's no windows at all. I'm enjoying myself here. Okay, night of the 6th of November, so yesterday's night. Let's travel to Crimea because Ukrainians give us beautiful videos of how they are dismantling Crimea. SSO drones hit the Gvardiiska oil depot near the village of Gvardiisk, TOT, Crimea. The RSV-400 tank was destroyed. That's the fuel tank. We can see it in the video later. It was full at the time of impact. At the same time, in the same area, 2 tank trains were hit on the overpass. At the time of the impact, the rolling stock was loaded with petroleum products. What am I yapping here? Let's enjoy the visuals that Ukrainians have brought to us. See, that's the RSV-400 tank, fuel tank. Bada boom, freedom spread. That's another one here connecting to this one. And these 2 fires already from the next drone. You can see it's beautiful. But this one doesn't want any fuel tanks. It wants train. It wants an entire train for itself. And it finds one. At the time they're loading the train, freedom fire spread, beautiful. Yes. These videos make my day usually, and since it is Friday, I mean, it's gonna get better and better. It's a nice kickstart for my weekend. Now, my friends, let's travel to deep inside Russia, Volgorechsk, Kostroma Oblast, which is home, Volgorechsk, the city itself, is home to one of the Russian largest power plants, thermal power plants. which was again struck. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know where this is going. It was struck, it's one of the biggest ones, and I want to bring to you the governor of that specific oblast, his office's reaction. I like it. I like when Russian officials try to make it look like they're actually doing something. Sergei Sitnikov received reports on the regional situation. The governor of the Kostroma region arrived at his office immediately after the drone threat was declared. The regional governor heard reports from emergency services and made specific management decisions to ensure public safety and the operation of essential services. Hey, I'm here to save you all. Don't worry, we are making specific management decisions. I love when they make specific management decisions because that always specifically resolves the problem in Russia. This is another way to say that they're doing absolutely nothing because they can do absolutely nothing. And the power plant probably burns until morning. Yeah. There's a beautiful video for us also. Wait for... Oh! Damn! Nice. Let's also look at the specs of this power plant because it has some specs, man. This is a big one. Big behemoth of a power plant. The facility supplies electricity to a significant part of the central Russia, including industrial and defense-related sites. Kostroma GRES has installed capacity of 3,720 megawatts, making it a massive behemoth thermal power plant. And is the third largest thermal power plant in Russia. Yeah, third largest. The plant is located in Volgorechensk, Kostroma Oblast, on the bank of the Volga River. You might know the Volga River from the Stalingrad battle. It was built in the 1960s and 70s and operates primarily on natural gas, serving as a major source of power to the central unified energy system of Russia. The station includes 8 power units and has long been considered a critical element of the country's energy infrastructure, which makes all of this info makes this strike even more enjoyable for me. Let's also look at the location. Where exactly is it? And as you can see, it is even northern eastern than Moscow. So the drones possibly could fly through Moscow Oblast, as you can see, around south or north, don't really matter. They flew around the Moscow air defense ring, which we have all seen, and struck this power plant. We have plenty of videos, of course, because Russians always film when something makes a nice bonfire in their country, and I really do like that. I hope they keep doing that, because then I can watch something with you and then enjoy my Friday. Look at that beautiful fire of freedom spreading. And can you see in the background the governor making specific management decisions? Oh, sorry. It's just the wording of that. Don't worry, my friends. Our governor is making specific management decisions. I'm right now making specific military bloc decisions, by the way. My friends, you have been with me for almost 4 years now. We have seen that united, we can make a difference in this war. We can help the Ukrainians. And you did help them. You donated. Not once, not twice, but 8 times. For 8 times I traveled to Ukraine to hand over the tens of trucks and hundreds of drones you bought for the Ukrainian units. These trucks and drones directly saved Ukrainian soldiers' lives. Soldiers who got to live another day. Fight another day for their homes and families. Here on YouTube, I have not been able to tell you the whole story, the truth about what happened while I was in Ukraine. Countless times we fell under Russian drone and missile attacks. Countless times I felt the fear of death. And countless times I promised myself that I will not stop out of fear. On my final mission in Ukraine, my wife was with me. In fact, we spent our honeymoon in a war zone in Ukraine, the best honeymoon one can hope for. Here you can see her shooting guns with the SPU Alpha Group, the best special forces Ukraine has to offer. All of this is written down for you in my book, 8 Missions in Ukraine. I ask you to read it, to witness everything I witnessed, to share these experiences, because this is our story through this war, and it is intertwined with the story of Ukrainian people. Get 8 Missions in Ukraine through the link in the description below. Get it for yourself. Get it for someone who cares about the Ukrainian people's fight for freedom. United, my friends, we will win. Slava Ukraini. Now, my friends, I think it's time to show you a little bit of justice, a real justice, because this is one of the first of such Ukrainian judicial processes where a Russian war criminal has been sentenced, actually by the Ukrainian law. He was not exchanged back to Russia, because some criminals will not be exchanged back to Russia because they are very personally connected to very specific war crimes. Since Ukraine is trying to be a member of the European Union, they have a very specific line to follow when it comes to judiciary processes. They have to follow the European Union standard, otherwise they won't be accepted in 10, 15, 20, whatever number of years. So when they do this specific one of judging a Russian war criminal, they follow as much as they can, or they're ready, the European line standard of judiciary law. In a first of its kind of trial in Ukraine, Russian soldier Dmitry Kurashov has been sentenced to life in prison by a Ukrainian court for executing a Ukrainian POW back in 2024. Now these things takes time, because in a free democratic country, always the judiciary process takes time, because you cannot speed it up. It needs to, every aspect of a crime needs to be looked at. Witnesses, the materials, the evidence, everything. It cannot be fast. These processes are really fast in Russia and in authoritarian countries, because the result is known before the process starts. But it's not like that in democratic countries. So it took 1 year to sentence him. When asked by a journalist if he's going to appeal the court's decision, Kurashov responded, "No, F, I won't. Everything is fine, F off." I guess the dude hasn't changed much. I'm glad to see this, because the message that I am spreading here and the Ukrainians are spreading to the world, and specifically to Russians, is that they will hunt down every last war criminal and they will judge them by the standard of the free world judiciary system, European Union's judiciary system, and they cannot escape the justice. Now, my friends, I will read you some messages from Buy Me a Coffee. These are monthly members who support this channel, the foundation of this channel, or you could say the heroes of this channel. And I want to read you some of their messages because they're really nice. Morgan Kirling. Consider your name butchered for the second time. Artur, thanks for butchering my name again. You needn't have, but I appreciate it. So I did it now for the third time. I'm actually a gal. So yeah, as your name says, Girling. But actually Morgan is, I think, a unisex name. So yeah, sorry for confusing you for a dude. You're a gal, not a guy. Though that's a good guess, as its origin is a Welsh man's name. Though it's used by both genders, especially in excited states of America. Well, thank you, Morgan, for becoming a member. Then we have Insurgo Aeternum. This came from a specific request also to say this name, so consider it butchered to oblivion. Hey Artur, I've been supporting you since my birthday in December, and I've been heard you butcher my name Wild West Rosie. I'm waiting with bated breath. What is bated breath? I don't know what it means, but consider your name butchered to the oblivion and orbit. Wild West Rosie. And now the final one, my friends. Deborah Porlase. I think I'm still listed as Someona. So it is you. We found the one to be blamed. Don't know how to fix that. I think I finally fixed out how to update my name. LOL. Yeah, Deborah Porlase no longer Someona. Thank you so much for the support. If you like my channel, join up and buy me a coffee. Now, my friends, the frontline segment, and we immediately take on the big topic, which is Pokrovsk. Let's look. What is the real situation? I'm not going to sugarcoat anything or hide anything. First of all, we'll begin with the fact. You should know this fact before I show you anything else, that Russians have their men infiltrated about 80% of the Pokrovsk city. So Pokrovsk has no static front line, it's very fluid, and about 80% of the city, there have been spottings or eliminations or firefights with the Russian troops. So we could say about 80% of the city has or has had Russians in it at some point. But let's begin. Why are Ukrainians holding Pokrovsk? Everybody says it's about to fall. Hey, I'm saying it's about to fall. That's the reality. That's not the goal of the Ukrainians. Well, definitely it's the goal of Russians, but I'll open up the situation for you. It's the same like in Bakhmut and in Avdiivka. The goal is the same and it works the same way like it did in both those cities. This is absolutely phenomenal writing by Old Dog 100U. Hey, you can read it if you want to. I'll read you the summary. It's also the best explanation for a rationale behind the defense of Pokrovsk beyond all the pundits' takes. It also explains something people often forget. And here is the truth that people forget. Time in war is currency, and so is momentum. Time and momentum is currency, not specifically land taken or city taken. Time and momentum and offensive capabilities. Let's take these three lines. Time, momentum, and offensive capabilities, which is manpower and equipment. Russia is losing all of these three things by taking Pokrovsk. When Pokrovsk falls, I'm not going to say if, but when, because it will, Ukrainians will pull out. Russia will have lost time, momentum, and offensive capabilities, which is not a straight win for Ukraine, but a success in one of their goals of grinding down the Russian army and their momentum so they cannot advance any further. Pokrovsk may eventually fall, but its objective will be more than achieved. Make Russians pay dearly for every town. As a dear friend says, what is the rationale? It's where we can kill more, faster, and easier. So kill more means take away the Russian offensive capabilities. Kill faster means take off the Russian time. And easier, well, it's the momentum. Perhaps you can connect it with the momentum. But yeah, if you don't have momentum and offensive capabilities, you cannot advance at all. So if Russians take Pokrovsk, they have been grinded down to the point that they will have to take an operational pause for how many months? Maybe 6 months, maybe more. And that is the goal of the Ukrainians. That is the answer here. It's not about losing or winning that town. It is about destroying these three lines of the Russian army. Now let's go to more detail of the Battle of Pokrovsk. Yesterday and today it's very foggy around Pokrovsk. So unfortunately the bad weather is now playing into the hands of the occupier. Today, through the fog, we noticed the first Russian military pickup in the city. They took their time throwing down barricades and drove through the streets of Pokrovsk. Let's watch the video also. Why is this impactful? I mean, what a pickup, who cares? Well, we do because majority of Russian men in Pokrovsk entered on foot, some with motorcycles. The logistics is on foot, everything is on foot. So to see a pickup truck which is not destroyed by Ukrainian drones means that their drones cannot fly, because it was foggy. So yeah, seeing an actual vehicle of Russian army in Pokrovsk in one piece means that the weather really is a friend of them right now. And it's a symbol again that they're very slowly stepping up their occupation of Pokrovsk. Now, Ukraine also does info operations like Russia. Planting flags in any specific buildings in any specific areas is an info operation. Planting flags almost never has any connection to battlefield. You can plant a flag in a city where you don't control any houses. You can just do that with a drone if you want to. What I'm saying here is these operations by the Russians and Ukrainians are always aimed at the enemy's public and the world's public. Russia is trying to show these flags to show that they surround Pokrovsk. Ukraine is planting these same flags on city council in this video specifically to show that they have their presence in Pokrovsk and to push away the Russian narrative. This is the informational warfare, the front where these things are happening, and it has no super direct connection to who actually controls which buildings in Pokrovsk. By now that I'm making this video, this city council building might be in the Russian hands or Ukrainian hands. It doesn't really matter. The fact is what the Western public believes. I'm just opening up how this psychological war happens. See, this is an info. You can already tell by the fact that these guys are all filming it and putting it up, and they have a permission to do that. That's the goal of this, because a certain person from Germany or America or Austria will see this and say, hey, see, Ukrainians are in Pokrovsk. What are you telling me? It's surrounded. It's not. Look at this video. And that's where the narratives are fighting each other in people's minds. Ukraine is also doing that like Russia. And it's very important that they do that. And I'm a soldier of that front, by the way, informational front. But again, I want to keep you in touch with the reality. Also, it doesn't really matter who controls the city council building. That it more matters who controls the flanks of Pokrovsk, who controls the logistics, how the logistics work, and all of that stuff is connected to the battlefield. This specific flag and this specific building is just a very nice pushback of Russian narratives that they have surrounded Pokrovsk. Let's look at the location also just to give you even more detail of this. So this map is already old, about 2-3 days, and in Pokrovsk things change so fast. The front line is not rigid like you can see on this map. It's very fluid. 2 separate armies control 2 separate houses next to each other. But yeah, the city council building is pretty much in the center of the city, a little bit south from the railway. You cannot make any estimates of who is doing what based on this video. It's 2 days old and it's just one building and it's a flag planting operation, so it's an info op. But I want to show you, because I want to show you the truth, I need to show you the real reality of Pokrovsk on a map. Most maps don't show this. See, compare it to this map, which you can see on most Ukraine war maps, and compare it now to this map, where Russian presence is noted in most of the city. It's not that they control all these areas. In some of the yellow areas in this map or red areas, there are Ukrainian troops present, even special forces. I know specific locations where they are. I cannot talk about it now. This map just illustrates where Russian troops have been sighted. For example, this top right photo here is where Russians were sighted about 5-6 days ago near a gas station on the almost northern eastern entrance to the city. Which is an area where Ukrainians are supposed to control everything. So it just shows you how fluid this is. And there are Ukrainian sightings, Ukrainian troops present in some locations of this southern road here. You can see where my cursor is. Just to illustrate how liquid the situation is and how liquid the movements of troops are. So yeah. If you see any kind of maps on Pokrovsk, you cannot really take them very seriously. If you see any kind of, oh, we liberate this or this area, again, tomorrow everything will change. New assault wave starts. So just take this information with a grain of salt. And I will end this by saying that Russians do not encircle Pokrovsk right now. They haven't done it. They claimed it on the very top commander Putin almost 2 weeks ago now. But it's still not a reality, which is a loss to the Russians on the informational front, because me and other military bloggers will show that they are lying and they have failed on what they claimed they did. Let's see who is in Pokrovsk. Again, maybe not now, but 2 days ago. Just let's watch the video. We saw Robert Provdi, a legendary drone commander of majority of Ukrainian drone forces, which right now make up about 2 to 3% of the entire Ukrainian army. 2 to 3%, not that much. But the effect that they destroy about 50% of all targets is insane. Then we have the man, the myth, the legend, President Zelensky. Who else do we have here? Provdi explaining wisdom. We have Sirsky, the Lord Commander of the entire Ukrainian army. Chief of Staff, yeah. I'm deliberately making up these funny words. Actually, here is the Chief of Staff of the entire Ukrainian army. I'll use the right terms for you. Provdi and Zelensky having fun, and now we have Denis Prokopenko, the leader of the First Azov National Corps. He has Finnish roots. His grandfather fought the Russians in the Winter War, and now he has he is very loaded with fury and anger and experience. He's a very young guy to be in the position he's at, leading the Azov, but he's very good at what he does. So yeah, just proven to you how many legends are present and other names which I'm not going to go into detail. In Pokrovsk, there was also Budanov. So everybody who was somebody in the Ukrainian military, every unit who has some kind of capability that is more than other units is there. It is the place. Everybody's there. So just to illustrate more, what is the price that the Russians are paying? The price is manpower, equipment, momentum, and time. Is the price that Russia is paying, and this is the price Ukraine wants Russia to pay, so much that they are ready to give land to make Russia pay that price. See, that's a different view on this war. Not how many square kilometers is taken, but how big of a price was paid. This is a Russian tank commander. I'm not going to say anything. Let's watch the video and maybe you have some questions later. You understand him? Here is a Russian tank commander. His name is Andrei Birozhnikov. He's mute and deaf. He cannot speak and he cannot hear. And he doesn't know the sign language for some reason, because he's right now saying that he was the last of his unit. Everybody died except for him. He's the lone survivor. Everybody's gone. And he lets us know by just hands, but it's not a sign language. And you and me, I think we both understood what he meant. They went to heaven. They're gone. I'm the lone survivor. It's just... looking at this, my empathy is triggered. I mean, we have a mute deaf person. I mean, for I don't know much. It's hard for me to watch this. See, you could clearly understand what he wants to say. He cannot, because he cannot speak. He cannot hear. But he's very clear in showing us what happened. Everybody was shot. All of his units, everything gone. He's the lone survivor. 300. The cross gone. I am here, only one, only me. I'm translating to you and I don't speak sign language. I don't think he does also. I don't know if that is sign language. But just, for me, this was really hard to watch. I mean, this guy probably would shoot a Ukrainian soldier as soon as he would see one. But it's just hard, like, he has a very strong disability, and Russians don't care about it. They have enlisted him in his army. He's not a tank commander, sorry, part of the tank crew. You cannot be a commander if you cannot speak or hear. Part of the tank crew, assault troops. Okay, I'm gonna leave that topic. It's a mentally difficult topic for me. I don't really know what message to give you here. You can put your ideas in the comments. And we continue on emotionally difficult topics. Yeah, happy Friday, my friends, but I have to talk about this stuff. The Russian government's schemes for avoiding paying death benefits for liquidated Russians is now being smelled all across the savage Russian hell state. And if you think this sentence is weird, hey, welcome to the rabbit hole. It goes deep. Check it out. Residents of Rostov are complaining en masse about the suffocating smell emanating from the crematorium, which operates around the clock, who is burned on an industrial scale. This is a creepy fact to know. And it's not only that. I can show you a video of a semi-frontal crematorium of the Russian army. These are body bags here. It's operating 24/7. See, as Stalin said, and Russians still operate like that. No man, no problem. No man, no need to pay the huge amount of benefits to the family. And we're talking here every month, I mean, billions of dollars that Russia has to pay for the families of the deceased. And if they are confirmed deceased in battle, if they're lost in battle, missing in action, MIA, you don't have to pay that. If you burn them like that en masse, they're all missing. You don't gotta pay that anymore. And Russia is not flexing on money right now. So we see this massive industrial scale burnings of Russian soldiers' bodies. By the way, this is a mobile crematorium that the Russian army brought with them to eliminate Ukrainians. When they would have taken over Ukraine, they had lists of people to just make disappear. And these were these mobile crematoriums they were about to do that in. Now these work to burn Russian bodies, because they now have to make their own soldiers disappear, not to pay the benefits to the families. It's just a creepy fact. What would have happened? It's such a scary fact. What would have happened? Well, here it is. There's lists of thousands of Ukrainians. There's teachers, ministers, everybody who has any kind of brain cells to be able to think. All of them would have been put into these crematoriums. It's okay. It's Friday after all. I'm gonna end this now. Let's get to the Shahed explosion. We need some positive news at the end of this video. I know you do. I do also before the cold brewski. On the night of the 5th of November, in Donetsk, near the vicinity of the Donetsk airport, there was a massive kaboom. And when I say massive, before I go to the information, let's just watch how massive this kaboom really was. I mean, if I would have seen it in Donetsk, I would have thought it's the nuclear war. This is how massive it was. Listen to this. Only the sound of it is so low and juicy and just like... You can already hear in the sound that it was not only one thing going kaboom. It was like hundreds and thousands. Not sorry, thousands. 1,000 drones, actually. That's what the Ukrainians say. I'll read you the summary and then we'll look at the video that Ukrainian drones did while ramming into these Russian drones. It was a staging area and launching area of Shahed drones near the Donetsk airport. So they staged up to 1,000 Shahed drones there. It was a warhead depot, fuel depot, pre-launch training point and communication nodes. All of these were destroyed. And Ukrainians actually released a video of ramming into the target multiple times. They used over 10 drones and 90% of them hit the target. See, that's the second drone already because there's a fire. Boom. And they're sending more and more into the same area. And each drone makes this small fireball, and some of them you can actually see in the big, like there's fire already, but you can see the sky flashes, secondary explosions. That's the new Ukrainian drones arriving, making sure anything down there never moves again. It's beautiful. This was such a massive explosion. And the sound of it, let's listen to it one more time. I mean, the sound of it is so pretty. I just want to end the video with it. My friends, I bring to you 1,000 Shahed drones exploding at the same time. This makes my Friday, definitely. Wow. This was it, my friends. I hope I made your Friday with these videos. These videos definitely made my Friday. And now I'm ready for the alcohol-free cold brewski. I hope you are also. Please do subscribe to the channel because I know half of you haven't done that yet. So, hey, let's push the other half to do that also. I'll be back for you on Monday with another update and if any new information comes out. For example, if we know if Sergei Lavrov has really been appointed to the Microsoft Windows committee because he's about to make a breakthrough through the window, I'll let you know. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.